Okay, hello everyone. So, this week's lesson, we are going to talk about the little things that we use when we are speaking English, just so we know the rules and how to use them. Um, so, today I wanted to talk about how and when do I use the. So we're just talking about this word, the, right? You see it all the time, you hear it all the time, but how and when do I use it? So the word the is like the words a or and an, right? So we could say a banana. We could say an expensive car, but you could also say the expensive car, the banana, right? So how do I know if I need to use the, a, or an? Which one, how do I know? So I'm going to tell you lots of different ways when you will know, okay, I need to use the word the. So you use it when you are talking about something specific. So this is just, you know, if you're thinking about it and you're like, okay, do I write or do I say the word the? Think of it and think and say, okay, am I using it to talk about something specific? And specific just means something in particular, one thing. So some examples. The car is blocking the crosswalk. So why do we use the? So if you said cars blocking the crosswalk, people would be like, car? Like how many cars? Which car? So you say the car because you're talking about something specific, right? Or if you say the crosswalk, it means you're talking about one crosswalk instead of all of the crosswalks. So the car is blocking the crosswalk. I need the report on Monday. That means you're not, if somebody said, I need report on Monday, the person listening would be like, what report? All of the reports? One report? Two report? How many? Like which one? So when you say I need the report on Monday, it means that you're talking about a specific report, right? And usually when we use the word the other person listening to us will know which one we're talking about when we say the. She doesn't have the vaccine. So this is an example of that. So, you know, not, back in 2017, if you said, oh, she doesn't have the vaccine, people would be like, which vaccine? What vaccine are you talking about? But now, since the pandemic, because of COVID, we know that when you say the vaccine, it means you're talking about the specific vaccine, the COVID vaccine. So, if you said she doesn't have vaccine, you need to say she doesn't have the vaccine because we're talking about a specific vaccine. Okay, the other thing that you can use when you need to use the is when a speaker and a listener are talking about a specific thing, right? Kind of like the one before, but it's if you're talking to somebody, right? So if I said to my roommate, do not forget to close the refrigerator. So I'm talking to my roommate, I'm telling them to close the refrigerator. Do not forget to close refrigerator. It doesn't work because when we use the word it means we are talking about a specific refrigerator, the refrigerator that we both use. The next one, can you grab the keys? If you're saying, can you grab the keys? They know what keys you're talking about when you use the word the. You don't have to give them directions. When you say the keys, they know if you say, oh, we're going to go drive to get pizza. Can you grab the keys? Oh, I know that they mean grab the car keys and grab the keys to the house. And then the next one, I need you to call the manager. So if somebody's talking to you, or if you're talking to somebody at the store and you say, I need you to call the manager. Um, the manager is like their manager. It's the manager. It's not all of the managers, it's one. It's a specific. So the next one is you can use when you continue to talk about the same thing. So what do I mean by this? So for example, if you say, oh, if you're talking to someone, you say, oh, I bought a new car last week. You'll see that you would use the word I bought a or I bought a new car last week. You use a. But if you keep talking about your new car, you you don't keep saying I drive a car to work every day now. You would say I drive the car to work every day now, because the reason we say the car is because this first sentence, this first thing we said, we used the word to introduce, the car. I bought a new car, right? When we use the, it means we're talking about this same car that we first talked about, and that's why we use the. There is a patient in room 2. The patient needs their blood drawn. So you'll see again, if I said, oh, there is a patient in room 2, the patient needs their blood drawn. The reason we use the when we say the patient instead of a patient is because we're talking about the same patient that we talked about in the beginning. Now the next thing that we can use to talk about is when you use a superlative that begins with the word most or ends in est. So what does that mean? Superlatives, remember, are words like best, the most, or when we say, oh, she has the greatest smile, it means it's more than all the others. That's what superlative means, right? That's what those words are. So sometimes we can say, oh, the most she is the most flexible person I have ever met. He is um the most, oh, let's see, he buys the most expensive clothes. So for example, if you said, oh, she is nice, you don't need to use the word the, because you're just describing somebody. She is nice. But if you used a superlative, nicest, you need to use the word the, because it's like you're talking about one because they're the best, right? Out of all the others. So you'd say she is the nicest, or he has the most expensive clothes. We use the because when you use something like most or nicest, when you use a superlative, it means that they're better than everything else compared to everything else, right? Or the worst of everything else. Uh, she is the meanest, right? So it doesn't always have to be something good. It could be, the most bad of everything. But the reason we use the is because it's something specific. Now, the other thing that we use the for is names of countries that look plural. Now, why am I saying look instead of plural? I'll explain. Or countries that end in an S or have the words United, Union, Republic, or Kingdom in them. So here's some examples. So the United States, um, right? The US is only one country, right? There's only one of them. So why does it end in an S? Why does it look plural? So it's really just one, right? We're only talking about one country when we say the United States, but we use the because it looks like it's plural and it has the word united in it, right? So it's saying when you use a word like united, republic, kingdom, or union, when you use those words, it kind of seems like you're talking about lots of things. And so we use the word the to mean, oh, I mean this specific group of things, even though it's just one country. So the other one that you would use is instead of saying, oh, I went to Dominican Republic, you would say, I went to the Dominican Republic. Or my family works in Saudi Arabia, you could say, or my family works in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you would say, my family works in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Um, or you would say, I'm from Philippines. Instead of, you would say, I am from the Philippines. Now, why is this different? Why can't you just say, well, just say the before every country? Because in English, you can't say, I am from the Kenya. Because Kenya is spelled like it's one thing. It doesn't have an S at the end or have the word united or kingdom or any of that in it, right? So you would say, I am from Kenya. You would just say that. But if you were saying Philippines, you would need to say, I am from the Philippines because it looks like it's plural. All right, the next thing is we use the before a body of water. And remember, a body of water, when we say that in English, a body of water, it means a whole bunch of water. So lakes, rivers, oceans, seas, those are bodies of water. But you don't want to use it in front of individual lakes. Now, I'll show you what I mean by that. So when you say Pacific Ocean, when you're talking to somebody, you would say the Pacific Ocean. I like the Pacific Ocean, the Mississippi River, the Gulf of Mexico. I live next to the Great Salt Lake. Now, you may be thinking, didn't you just tell me to not use it with individual lakes, meaning like one lake? Well, that's the weird thing about this. So, if you were saying the Great Salt Lake, which is the lake that is by us, right, in Salt Lake City, it's because the Great Salt Lake is its like title. But if you're referring to something as a lake and the name comes after the word lake, you do not want to use the word the. Lake Michigan, because instead of the word the telling us you're talking about something specific, lake is singular, right? It's not plural, it's only one. So it's saying it's already being specific, Lake Michigan, right? But if you say, the Great Salt Lake, you have to use the because it's the title, it's the name of it. But if you say Lake Michigan, which is also its name, we don't need to use the because the word lake comes before the name. And you'll see that the word lake comes at the end of the Great Salt Lake, which is why we use the word the. Um, And then I think this is the last, oh no, we still got more. So you want to use the when you talk about geographic parts of the globe. What is geographic? Geographic means it's about land, geo, the planet, right? So it's parts of the earth and areas, mountain ranges, right? So like the Rocky Mountains is a mountain range, deserts and peninsulas. So for example, you would say, I'm used to living by equator. That wouldn't be correct in English. You would need to say, I am used to living by the equator, right? The equator. When we say, my family lives West Coast, it doesn't work. You got to say, my family lives on the West Coast. You could say the South. You need to use the South when you talk about, like the South of the United States. Now, if you said to somebody with your giving directions, you need to go south, you wouldn't put the South. You wouldn't not say you need to go the South. That's not what it means. In America, we refer to a certain part of the United States by just saying it's the South, right? So Mississippi, Alabama, uh, what are other ones? Tennessee, Texas. Those that's considered the South, right? And it's kind of like the title, the South. So that's why you would use the. But you can also use it for mountain ranges like the Andes or the Rocky Mountains. You can also use it for things like the Yucatan Peninsula, right? You wouldn't say, I lived in Yucatan Peninsula. It's, I lived in the Yucatan Peninsula because you're talking about a specific name, right? A title. So the next thing is you want to use the word the with musical instruments when you are talking about playing them. So if you are just talking about a musical instrument, like, oh, is that a cello? Right? You would just use right? But if you're talking about playing them, you need to use the word the. I play the guitar. Can you play the piano? Playing the violin is hard. So when you talk about playing a musical instrument, that's when you want to have the word the come before the instrument. And that's it for our lesson today, and I will see you tomorrow.